Good morning, Exchangers. Happy Monday. It's week 9 and we are wrapping some things up. So this Tuesday, submit rhetorical reflection number 4, and that concludes all of your expansion and revision activities. If you need a little bit of time throughout the week to make sure that everything is completed, that should be fine. I'm going to be monitoring everything through Friday and trying to make sure that it's all wrapped up and that grade book or rubric is closed by the end of the week. So on my end, where I'm going to start first is with the source evaluations. Hopefully you've had time to self-assess from last week's resource, and I'll go in and give the additional 10 points for that. Yeah, that's what it is. While I'm doing that, I'll also be checking out your guys' reviews, looking for all 8 reviews to give you credit. And then lastly, I'll check your rhetorical reflection number 4. So that really gives you this week and next week to finalize any revisions, edits, polishing, etc. that you want to do on your final article before you submit at the end of the quarter. And I think it's week 10, so next week I'll create some space for drop-ins and whatnot. I just haven't carved that out in my schedule yet in case you wanted to come check in. But this weekend I recorded you guys a 15-minute video. I'm just going to tack it on right here, right now, to give you that extra support that you might need to know what to do next. And I'll remind you that I will, at the earliest, the end of this week, guaranteed the start of next week, I'll be sweeping through your articles to give a final round of comments before we get to the final submission at the end of the quarter. Do you guys have any questions for me? You can comment below if you want the whole group to see it. Otherwise, just keep chipping away. Reach out to me via my email if you need anything specific. I really hope you're doing well and taking good care of yourself and starting to feel some relief knowing that all your hard work is about ready to pay off for this end of the quarter. Some of you are going to be celebrating graduation. I can't wait to see you there and cheer you on as you cross the stage and receive your diplomas, your degrees, your certificates, whatever it is. All right. Have a good one, you guys. Enjoy the sunshine and take a deep breath and enjoy something. Choose anything this week to just enjoy and be present with. All right. Let me know if you need me. Hey everyone. I wanted to check in with the whole group and talk a little bit about SIP format and then give you a preview of Monday's video regarding what's left in the quarter. I want to try to take a little bit of the edge off, as I know that we could all use that right now. I think that would be really helpful. Okay, let's just go through the whole system. Let's say you're using a source and you use the tool of www.mybib.com and you drop in your URL and it creates a works cited entry for you. So I use this symbol to exemplify a works cited entry. These are just the lines. And you may have learned that a works cited page has hanging indents. So instead of the indentation going in, like a paragraph, it comes out. Now here's why. Because what we want is for that little first part of the source to stick out, so that when the reader is looking at your article, they can just literally use their finger and skim the side and see, okay, one source, and then it would be, 2 sources, and then 3, and so on and so on. The other thing that's really great and intentional about this kind of formatting is it guides us for, if this goes at the end of the article in the works cited section, what goes in the article when you use that specific source. And so that is the parentheses for SIP format. So you're writing a little sentence from that source. This is your sentence, blah, 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 blah. And then you leave some parentheses there. Okay. What goes in parentheses? It's the first thing listed in this works cited entry. So a lot of times that's just going to be a last name. So in this case, we'll just say Lemire. So this maybe says Lemire, Amber, period. English 102 lecture, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So then if I say, in Amber's class, we learned that blankety, 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 parentheses, Lemire, period. Now, if you have page numbers or timestamps, those also technically go right here. And I am doing an MLA example right now. So APA is a little bit different. Use mybib.com to just finesse those aesthetic differences. It's still conceptually the same. All right, so when you get to submitting the final expanded article copy, you have to have these. You have to have 10 sources to earn, to be eligible for up to an A. If you have less than that, you're only eligible for a C. Okay, so 10 sources. Make that a priority this next week. Just make sure you have all 10. Then you need to go in and you need to do at least 10 parentheses. Make sure that every source you've listed here, all 10 of them, you put in parentheses here, all 10 of them, because that shows I've used all 10 sources that I've gathered, and here are the places where I've used them. But because it's English 102, if you only do 10 of these SIPs, you're going to be eligible for up to a B. It's a good expression of your learning, but in order to really elevate your learning, what you want to get to is, you'll see this in the final rubric soon, but here's a preview. Just 11. It's not much more. Honestly, you probably should be more at like 15 to 27 off of the top of my head, thinking about the really strong articles I've seen before. But the idea is that one source doesn't just give you one sentence of content. One source probably gives you 2 or 3 sentences and references throughout your article. And I want you using things more than once, really richly integrating the sources. Okay, if you get here, you've got your 10 sources, you've got your 11 SIPs, you're almost just nailing this foundational requirement. You're about ready to be eligible for up to an A in the course. All right, so the third thing that completes this SIP requirement will be your signal phrases. So the parentheses go at the end of the information that you've brought in, and maybe it's a sentence or maybe it's 3. What goes at the start of the information to indicate to me that this chunk is coming from a source? And what goes there would be your signal phrase. And the most common kind of signal phrase that we're probably familiar with is according to blank, blank, blank. And then we say blah, 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 parentheses, source, period. Okay, so according to blank, 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 here's your sentence and then your parentheses. If you do this 11 plus times, you are eligible for up to an A in this course. These are the most make or break elements. So if you're sitting there looking at your article like, I'm not sure if it's good enough, I'm not sure how I'm going to do. Honestly, I have designed this course to try to really make the passing based on just a few things that are essential. And then the rest of the points I think are just going to fall into place for you guys. So let me reiterate one more time. Be at 3,000 words. 25 to 2,999 is a B. So there's still a grace. There's a grace zone. But if you want to earn up to an A, be at 3,000 words. Reach that 10 plus 10 sources minimum in your works cited page right here. And get 11 plus SIPs in there according to blank, 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 blah, 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 parentheses. The parentheses match what's listed here. You've used all 10 sources, and some of them you've used more than once. And honestly, you guys, that's SIP format. How do you spot check or self-check for SIP? Have you ever used the hold control down on your keyboard, F, and it will pop up, a search box in the top right? If you do that, Control F, I want you to hit like Shift 9 to put a parentheses in there, just that first parentheses, and it'll show you how many parentheses is in your article. So that's what I do too when I'm checking work, is I do Control F parentheses. I look and see where all of those are, and then I skim backwards from the parentheses until I find the signal phrase. So that's how you could self-check and do these counts. And if you are not at these bare minimum requirements, then that's how you should spend next week, really, really locking that in. Okay, since I'm already on it, let's talk about it. What else will you be assessed on in your final article? There are 30 points spread out across 2 categories, and that's all. So those 2 categories are using rhetorical knowledge to develop your compositions and exercising voice. Okay. What does using rhetorical knowledge to develop your compositions mean? It means you have ethos. You have strong signal phrases that show off that you have good, credible, well-considered experts and perspectives and lenses incorporated into your argument, but also that your own character and your ethics and your credibility shines in the way you're presenting the argument and you're thinking about the ideas of authority and credibility. You're blending that with pathos, which means you're making emotional connections with your reader. You're experimenting with different ways to be creative, and you may or may not bring in some personal sources like first-person evidence, interviews, or connections. And finally, you're mixing that with the rhetorical appeal of logos. Logos is logic. That's your ability to express complexity, to divide things into sections, to develop the argument in depth and put it in an order that makes sense to us. Also, on an aesthetic level, you're considering your formatting and your sentence level details and really trying to engage the reader through a multitude of means. So it's not necessarily logos heavy or pathos heavy or design heavy, but it has a blend, and it looks like you as the writer have gone through the rhetorical reflections and really tried to balance some of those skills. And lastly, exercise voice. This is a question of, did you stay true to the original mission? Did you come back to it to write a fresh, underdog, authentic article? Did you balance your voice with the voice of sources? And your voice isn't necessarily I or personal evidence, but it's you narrating and explaining the argument. Is it more your voice, and does it feel like not enough sources and experts being given the microphone? Or is it too much sources and not enough personal connection? Look for, creating balance there. And then did you practice sentence variety and grammar that enhanced meaning? And this is really important. Helped you to come across as human. Even if you wrote your own work, we are writing in an era where readers are skeptical. Not just me, just readers in general. We can sniff it out. Is that picture AI? Is that sentence AI? So how have you taken that extra time to really put your signature, your human signature and stamp on your writing? And I tend to assess this really quite loosely, quite generously, honestly. But the categories are just exemplary. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, yes, I can see your effort in these. I can see that you took the extra time to finesse these things. And then there's well done and good. And almost everyone will end up in good and well done and exemplary. If you made it this far in the class, I can't imagine. I never see a situation where that's not the case. If you haven't, met the words and were excited, it's hard to express voice or rhetorical knowledge. So that's honestly the only thing that could hold you back for good, well done, and exemplary marks. And I think that you guys are going to just do really well here at the end of the quarter. So like I said, I'll go over this on Monday morning, but just because we're already here, let's talk about it. Your sources should be done, your research, all 10, by last Thursday. So starting on Monday, I'll probably look at those who have all 10 done, and I'll start grading those qualitatively to give you that extra 10 points. And then I'll just stagger and check in throughout the week to catch the rest of you. Then your reviews, the last 2 are due tomorrow, Sunday. So while I'm checking sources, I'll be just looking and seeing where we're at with reviews, and hopefully we're wrapping those up. And lastly, your 4th rhetorical reflection is due on Tuesday night. And then that means you're basically done with this big rubric. But like I said, I'll check in throughout the week to kind of just be sure that I'm catching you guys as you're finalizing all of these elements. And then my plan is to just shut all of that down. We are done with expansion and revision. So just know that's my goal, is by Friday that we would be done with expansion and revision. But if things are kind of wrapping up this week, that makes total sense to me. It's been a really challenging quarter, I think, for a lot of us personally, and even just being a member of this community, we can feel the challenges. So that gives you one additional week of the quarter to my goal is to give a final round of comments just to prepare you for that final rubric and really just enjoy your pieces, and then to give you time to drop in if you had any specific questions, like let's say it's about SIP or the minimum requirements. And really, that's it. I try as hard as I can to, I think you guys are right now finishing up the hardest part of the course, and then it's over, and then you get time to just know, okay, I did it. It's out of the way. And the rest of the quarter is really those last efforts to take pride in your work and make it, finalize it in ways that make you feel really good about what you've accomplished. So I think you're an amazing batch of exchangers, an amazing group. I'm really impressed by your resilience and persistence and creativity and the way you're invested. And I just really value each and every single one of you, whether you're falling behind, getting ahead, staying caught up. That doesn't matter so much to me. I'm just rooting for all of you to be successful this quarter. And I hope that this video gives you some peace and calm as we get to the end of the quarter and preps you to, like I said, feel that sense of pride in your work. Can't wait to see what you guys are finishing as we near the end.